Class 10th, as you all know that from Monday, that is from 18th January, your pre-boards are going to start. Okay, you must be preparing for that. Okay, all the best. Okay, you have already been informed about the syllabus of your pre-board, though 100% syllabus, but few chapters are not yet taught. So that chapter, one poem, one last poem, and the 10th one, and one lesson, that is short story, will not be coming in your pre-board exams. And in Merchant of Venice till Act 4, it will come in your final exam also, final board exam, and the same will come in your pre-board also. One lesson was left to teach you, that was my greatest Olympic prize. Okay, that will be covered in this pre-board only. So we will do in today's class, we will do this my greatest Olympic prize. I want you to please listen to my explanation word to word, dialogues to dialogues, so that you should know it very well, and do the summary from your workbook, which will help you a lot in your examination. If any type of questions come, you can do easily. Clear? So let's start my greatest Olympic prize. Actually, the lesson my greatest Olympic prize is the heart-touching experience of Olympic gold medalist, that is Jesse Owens' story. Okay, so let us start. Clear?
With his rival Luz Long, the athlete who helped him calm down and qualify for the broad jump finals at the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin. Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals at the Olympics. His record stood unbeaten for 48 years. He was hailed as the greatest track and field athlete in history. Jesse was also known as the Buckeye Bullet because of his speed. He came from humble origins. His grandfather had been a slave, and his father was a sharecropper. A sharecropper is a farmer who has no land of his own, and therefore works on someone else's land and pays part of his crops as rent. They originally lived in Oakville, Alabama, in the United States, but when he was 9 years old, they moved to Cleveland, Ohio for better opportunities. This was because many African Americans were leaving the rural southern parts of the United States seeking better opportunities in the urban, industrialized northern parts. His name was actually J.C. Owens, and when his new teacher asked him his name, he said J.C. But because of his southern accent, she understood it as Jesse, and that stuck for the rest of his life. Jesse delivered groceries, loaded freight cars, and worked in a shoe repair shop. It was at this time that he discovered that he loved running. His high school track coach allowed him to practice in the mornings before school, since he used to work in the afternoon at the shoe repair shop. At university, although he was successful as an athlete, he had to face racial segregation. He was not allowed to live in the campus. He had to live off campus with other African American athletes. While traveling with the team, he could not eat with the others. He had to order takeout or eat at blacks only restaurants. Also, he had to stay at blacks only hotels. He did not even receive a scholarship, and so he continued to work at part-time jobs. In spite of all these difficulties, when he was in high school, Jesse won 3 track and field events at the 1933 National Interscholastic Championships. At Ohio State University 2 years later, he equaled one world record and broke 3 others. And then at the Olympic Games in Berlin in 1936, he won 4 gold medals. Let us now look at Hitler's belief in the Aryan superiority theory. According to Nazi ideology, the people of Aryan descent majorly found among Germans and other Northern European peoples are the most superior in racial hierarchy. Those who belong to this race are the master humans. They are the original inhabitants of the lost continent of Atlantis, which is a fictional island mentioned in the works of Plato, the Greek philosopher. Although it is fictional, Atlantis represents the concept of advanced prehistoric civilizations. The Nazis believed that white people in general and Germanic peoples in particular were superior to others. They had the right to rule others and expand their territories. On the other hand, the Slavs, native to Eurasia, along with the Gypsies and Jews, were racially inferior, and they had to be removed in order to maintain the purity of the master or the Aryan race. Now let us see what was the impact of the Aryan superiority theory on the games. 5 years earlier, the International Olympic Committee had chosen Berlin as host city for the 1936 Olympics. Since then, Germany had witnessed the rise to power of the Nazi Party and its leader Adolf Hitler. Now, Hitler's propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels planned to use the games to the Nazis' advantage. Initially, Hitler did not like the idea of the Olympics. He rejected it as, I quote, a Jewish nigger fest. That's what he called it. It took Goebbels to make him realize that actually this was a great opportunity for the Germans to show that the Aryan Superman was actually superior to all other types of people. Hitler insisted that his Aryan athletes would jump higher, run faster, and prove themselves the best in the world. He made German domination at the Olympics a national goal. Adolf Hitler actually said, "What we ask of German youth of the future is different from the past. German youth must be slender and lean, swift as greyhounds, tough as leather, hard as Krupp steel." According to him, black people were not meant to be able to compete with Aryans. How could they? For Hitler and the Nazis, this was not the way they wanted things to happen. They wanted the world to witness one thing: the victory of the Aryan race, the victory of Nazi Germany. On the other hand, Jesse Owens declared, if there are minorities in Germany who are being discriminated against, then the United States should withdraw from the 1936 Olympics. However, later he took part in the Games. When he arrived in Berlin, he was surprised to see his fans, many of them young women, screaming, "Wo ist Jesse?" which means, "Where is Jesse?" Some people even had scissors with them to snip off a piece of his clothing. He had to be escorted out of the athlete's village every time because of his popularity. He was surprised that the Germans did not actually hate him. However, since he had always faced racism, he was taken aback by the performance of Luz Long in the practice sessions, and especially because of the propaganda of the Nazis, he lost control of his emotions and performed badly. But in the end, at the Games, he had single-handedly rubbished the master race theory. Now let us look at the story in brief. Jesse Owens was well prepared and confident about winning the broad jump at the Olympics. He had trained, sweated, and disciplined himself for 6 years for the Games. Just a year ago at university, he had set a world record of 26 feet 8 1/4 inches. Everyone expected him to win the event easily. But after reaching Germany, he saw Luz Long, a tall white boy, hitting the pit at almost 26 feet on his practice leaps. He was told that Hitler had kept Luz a secret and wanted him to win the broad jump. Jesse understood that if Luz won, it would add support to the Nazis' Aryan superiority theory. He became very angry, and he wanted to show Hitler who was superior and who wasn't. But because he became angry, He repeatedly leaped from several inches beyond the takeoff board, resulting in a foul. He became bitterly disappointed with himself. As he was stewing with frustration, he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned around and looked into the friendly blue eyes of his rival, Luz Long. After shaking hands, they made polite conversation. And then Luz came to the point, telling him that something must be wrong with him. There was no reason for him to foul. He should be able to qualify with his eyes closed. Luz was an inch taller than Jesse, with a lean muscular frame, clear blue eyes, blonde hair, and a strikingly handsome chiseled face. He was in every way an Aryan, but did not believe in the Aryan supremacy theory at all. He told Jesse to draw a line a few inches before the takeoff board and then jump, because that would help him easily qualify without fouling. After all, today was only the trial jump. It was the competition the next day that mattered. This tip made Jesse confident. He followed it and easily qualified with almost a foot to spare. That night, the two of them spent 2 hours together, talking about track and field, themselves, the world situation, and a dozen other things. Jesse knew that a real friendship had been formed, and that Luz wanted him to do his best the next day, even if it meant that he would lose and Jesse would win. The next day, Luz broke his own past record in the Olympic broad jump competition. Luz's performance inspired Jesse to put in his best, an Olympic record of 26 feet 5 by 16 inches. And the moment it happened, Luz was at Jesse's side, congratulating him. He did not even care that Hitler was watching them angrily. His good wishes were genuine. Jesse had no doubt about this. Jesse said that his friendship with Luz was worth more than all the awards he had ever won. He also understood that Luz was the embodiment of the spirit of the Olympic Games, which says, the important thing in the Olympic Games is not winning, but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering, but fighting